and we can see Karula, and she's looking at a hyena, as you can see in the distance there. So this is quite a scene that's unfolding here. It doesn't look like there's a kill close to Karula there. I think the kill is with the hyenas just to the front there. Here goes Karula. She's going off into the distance here. Just going to slowly keep on the pace of where we are. Standing, we are right by the road here. There goes Karula. Let's have a look and see where those hyenas are. The hyenas are there. She's just climbing up a tree now. There, her kill's in the tree. There she is.
Hold it there.
Alright, so just gonna have a chat on the game drive vehicle. Stations I've located on Karula. She's up a marula tree, close to where her kill was last. There is a hyena just beneath the tree, and there are no sign of the cubs at the moment. Mike, if you're interested to come in, come in. Wow, so this has been very, very interesting. Let's have a look. Here it is up in the tree with her kill, and there's a hyena just beneath this marula tree. So what might have happened is when we drove earlier, we just saw that hyena run into this area. So it's cool to see that she has been able to hoist that kill up into a tree. We weren't sure if she was going to be able to lift it up there. She's managed to do so. Let's see if we can see the cubs. We're going to look around in all the different trees to see if there's anything moving. Here she comes. Beautiful. There she lies with her kill in the background and the hyena's just been below. So she looks quite relaxed. She was lying on the ground. It's interesting to see that she was on the ground a little bit earlier, looking at the hyena, and she wasn't in the tree. It was interesting to see that. So we are happy that we have found her again. Question is, I'm just going to get my binoculars out and search the tree line just to see where those cubs might be. Okay. So those cubs, I don't think would be able to climb the tree that the mother's in at the moment. So they might just be in another thicket of one of the trees. So I'm just looking all around us. See if there's any movement in the bushes. Doesn't seem to be any movement out here. So no sign of the cubs. Just a sign of a very hungry hyena beneath the tree. Just seems to be one of them, but I definitely saw two. As we were approaching along the road, we noticed that there were two hyenas that were running through the thicket. So we can just see one there at the moment. It's fascinating to see how a hyena will wait beneath this tree until finally he can get something to eat. So I'm very, very happy to see that she has managed to hoist this. Well done, Karula. I'm still yet to meet your cubs properly. I hope they are doing fine wherever they are out in the bushveld there. I'm sure they would have run away when the hyenas came. But she is resting now. She looks fairly calm with the impala kill. It looks like there's still quite a bit left of that kill. Right, probably around 5/10 of the kill is still there. But how dramatically things have changed from yesterday when we were just sitting looking at the cubs playing in the trees. Just shows you how careful a mother needs to be out here in the bush at night time. Because there are other animals with different interests. So that must have been quite a tree to hoist. Have a look from the bottom of the tree all the way to the top. There's not much room to go up on other branches until the one she's in. So that's a very, very well done display. I wonder how she did that. I mean, it's a very, very long way. There must be about a couple meters there. Around 5 meters, would you say, Dave? 5-6 meters, carrying 5/10 of a kill up a tree. It's a strong feat. So I wonder what actually happened when the sound of those hyenas came in the evening, because we had a report that she was still with her kill at around 7 o'clock last night. So it might have been in the early hours of this morning that she hoisted the kill when the sound of those hyenas came from the distance. They look very, very relaxed there. I'm just going to drive a little bit around there to see if we can see if there are any other hyenas. And then we'll come back to this position. Just want to get on the radio quickly. Mike, do you copy Mike? Mike, we've just located Karula up a marula tree with 2 hyenas that are below, not far from where we were yesterday. Copy, Mike. Are you going to make your way? Copy, Mike. We're just going to have a look out for the cubs that might be in the bushes or the brush somewhere here as well. For the time being, Mike, just to make sure that the cubs are okay. So, you see 2 hyenas there now?
Only one.
We're not going to go any further in. I mean, so another game ranger was here, and you can quite clearly see he was here. You didn't quite see Karula up in the tree there with the kill. So there has been someone driving in, and they didn't see the cubs anyway. But I'm reluctant to go in here. I think it's better if we just sit outside on the outskirts and just watch our beautiful Karula. The likelihood is that the cubs are off far away from the site, up in a little tree or wherever they are, and they'll be safe. So if we just sit here with Queen Karula up in a tree with that kill, it's quite a nice sight that we have of her now with her legs down the side. She looks fairly comfortable with her kill up there. You can quite clearly see now how difficult that must have been to climb that tree. I can still only see one hyena. I'll just get my binoculars and see if there's two. So there's just the one hyena that's sitting beneath. So I had Mike just said over the radio that he did find a hyena on some of the kill. So there must have been some of the kill down here. So before she carried it up the tree. But I'm just looking at her stomach from a distance and she looks very full. So she's definitely fed well, Karula. It's great to see how comfortable she is in the tree there with her legs just dangling like that. Very cool picture of you, Karula. And look at those paws. Very cool to see that. If you're driving in the bush and you just see a tail or legs coming off a tree, it's a great thing to see. It's not often you get to see that. I've only ever had it once where I was driving and I just saw this flick of a tail coming off a branch of a tree. Just have a look at that kill there. The kill does look like there's quite a lot of skin left if you have a look at that. You can just see the horns there of that male impala. So it's quite interesting. It's still quite in the middle of the rutting season at the moment. The new moon in May is generally when they are at the peak of it. And so that male impala must have been very either quite tired or just distracted between the other males in the bachelor groups or the harem. So often at this time of year you'll find that male impalas will be killed. So they're not as aware as they normally are. So she's managed to kill a very, very strong and big impala, which is great to see. She's a very powerful, strong cat, Karula. Can't hear the sound of anything else except for a fish eagle in the distance. She looks very tired though, up in that tree. So I'll just talk to you about what we saw. We came here earlier and we spotted a hyena just running into the thicket. And then straight after spotting it, Dave, very well done, spotted Karula. She was sneaking through the bush there, and then it started to rain quite a lot. So we had to go back to camp for a half an hour or so. And then we came back here, and we just drove slowly along this thicket here, and we just saw two rather large hyenas running into the distance. And then I spotted Karula just moving slowly through there. We spotted her, and then she jumped up this tree to her kill. So it was a very, very cool sighting with Queen Karula. So the hyena's just lifted its head. So both these animals are nocturnal animals. They normally are quite flat during the day. It's interesting to see them interacting with each other during the day. It's not something you often see. But so my feelings are that the hyena, no Karula, the hyena will, sorry, Karula just got a little fright there, I don't know why. So I'm just wondering whether this hyena will be here all day or not. I think this hyena won't get bored because it's too much of a lure to see a nice looking impala up a tree. The best chance of getting something to eat is just sleeping underneath it. Doesn't have to do too much. Just needs to lie there. So I think this hyena will be here for the majority of the day. While Queen Karula looks after the rest of her kill. So Nemo is interested to know if this is the same kill that we saw yesterday morning and last night. Nemo, this is the same kill that we saw. It's quite a lot of it has been eaten. It's the last little bit of that kill that Karula's got up in the tree. She hasn't moved much in the last 2 to 3 days. 2 days. She's been with this kill. And Nemo, we were with the cubs yesterday, as you would have seen. The cubs were here around Karula. And now we've come back and the scene has changed dramatically, but we did wonder this last night, what it would look like when we got back here this morning, because it was quite a large impala, and the chance of it not being seen by a hyena would have been quite not possible, really. Hyenas have such great scent and smell, so they're able to pick up on any scent in the distance of a kill of any kind, so they would have moved around here. We actually saw hyena tracks as we were driving here this morning, and I was thinking something's been going on at the kill site with Karula. Elaine is interested in whether Karula will eat the skin or just leave it. A lot of the time they just leave the skin and they just eat the meat inside, but sometimes they do. Often when you find leopard dung, you'll find that there is fur in the dung, which will come from kills. It's mainly with the smaller animals that they'll eat most of it. Good question, Elaine. Because what we can see on the kill at the moment is quite a bit of skin there that's been left untouched. But I think, just looking and observing it from here, the skin really helps the kill to stay intact. So it's almost in her best interest to keep the skin intact, so she is able to move it around and be mobile with that kill. I'm still flabbergasted is the word, that she was able to carry that kill up that tree. It must have been quite light if she was able to carry it all the way up that tree. It's incredible how leopards can do that. Very, very powerful cat. Much stronger than that of a cheetah. A cheetah you won't find up a tree like we are seeing with a leopard. Sometimes you'll see a cheetah standing on an old tree that's fallen down, looking out into the distance to see if it can see anything. So with cheetah, you often find them on termite mounds and all sorts of vantage points to just get a brief look over the area. But we also find leopards on top of termite mounds. I was told that James found the Nkuhuma pride this morning. So we've had quite a morning of cats. And we had an incredible sighting of the elephants on the way here this morning. We just saw the first part of the breeding herd come through, and we watched it, and then about 40 elephants were surrounding us. It was a great few moments that we had. And it's been quite, we spoke about it last night. We spoke about, over the fireside chat, we spoke about the role of the mother hyena, the role of the leopard, as Karula is, and the role of the elephants. So in the space of 2 hours, we've seen all three of those animals that we were talking about last night. They all have a different way in which they live out here in the bush and protect their young. Something that struck me last night was what James was talking about when a leopard loses its cubs, and how it won't really put itself in the face of danger before protecting their cubs. But an elephant would do that at some stages. This is all in terms of survival instincts out here, the way in which they interact. It makes sense when you start to think about it, though, so that the survival rate of cubs is much lower than having a nice, or having Karula out there who's able to mate with other leopards. But I'm sure the two young cubs are doing fine somewhere out in the thicket there. She looks fairly relaxed and heavy up in that tree. And the hyena seems fairly anxious for some food at the bottom of the tree. I wonder if James was with that female this morning that was looking pregnant. While we sit here and observe some of the things that are happening here with the hyena and Karula, let's just go and see how James is doing, and if anything happens, we'll come back straight away.
Hello everybody, very good news that the Karula's there. Not such good news that the cubs aren't around, but hopefully they'll pitch up at some stage, preferably when the thieving, pilfering hyenas are not there anymore. Just have a quick look here. An elephant has come past, probably much the same size as the big one that we saw earlier on, and he's pulled down pieces of this marula tree, and I climbed a marula tree the other day in order to demonstrate, well, not in order to demonstrate anything, but just to show how far away the limbs are from the ground. And elephants don't often eat marula leaves, and it's one of the reasons that these trees are able to survive. They don't have very hard wood, and an elephant can push them over at a moment's notice. So I'm quite surprised that an elephant has taken the time here to break off a fairly large limb and then deposit it on the ground. You can see very few of the leaves there have actually been sampled at all. Now, I sometimes think elephants just push things over because they feel frustrated with life. And apparently Jamie stood underneath there to give you a size comparison of how tall that is. That is amazing. It's probably about 15 feet up. Jamie, of course, is not a totally dissimilar size to mine, so I shan't do the same thing. Shut up, Jandre. Just take pictures. Be quiet. Hello, Dendrogramma. You're a new viewer, and it's lovely to have you with us. I hope we're saying your name correctly, Dendrogramma. You want to know how long the longest coalition of male lions I know of was in power. Those Majinga lion are pretty close. There was one male lion at Londolozi who I think remained in charge for about 6 years. His name was Big Black, and that for a single male lion to have been in charge for that length of time is absolutely astounding. He was a huge, huge animal though, and he was not known for his gentle disposition. Apparently, tracking him was something of a terrifying experience at the time. Then the Majingis have been there now. Well, I think it's probably 5.5 years. That's quite a lot in the western sectors of the Sabi Sands. There was a group of males called the Sparta males, also around Londolozi. I mean, this is only because I know these areas. I only know these areas because I was around them. And they were in charge also until they were old. They were 17, I think, when they were finally excluded eventually by, I forget who exactly it was that excluded them. And I think they must have been in charge for nigh on 10 years. So that is a very long time. There's a battalion flying right there. Well spotted, well done. I do mean that almost genuinely. The way he flies, the juvenile battalion, you can see that from the length of the tail, but the flight, the way they flap their wings is so distinctive. Very shallow wing beats. Oh, he's got an itchy chin. You see that, Jandre? That's bizarre. Just reached forward with his claws there and seemed to give himself a bit of a scratch. And interestingly, one of the birds that can actually feed on the wing like that is the eastern red-footed kestrel or the Amur falcon. And they fly around and they'll catch a termite alate in the air with their feet, put it into the mouth and then keep flying. It's still there, Andre. But don't worry, we'll carry on to something else. The big grey cloud you could see there where the battalion was flying. It's coming closer. And I can't tell if this is a male or a female at this stage. Too young, probably a male, given the fact that they're large, the leading edge is almost entirely black. And that bird's probably about 4 or 5 years old. Still in juvenile plumage, a battalion, a long-lived bird, probably 25 years they can live. I love watching a battalion fly. I think they're the most incredible birds. Right here. Get a view here of the front, sitting nestled over the Bushbuck Ridge region. Just going to turn the car off and ease our way down the road here. Like I've said to you many times, I can't wait till we have an electric vehicle that we can drive this quietness. Oh, Rava in Tucson. A lovely question, and it's even lovelier because I actually know the answer to this one. Rava, you want to know what is the evolutionary advantage to a batelier having a super short tail? I shall tell you. We're just going to stop here so that Jean-Marie can show you a picture of where the clouds have settled over the foothills of the Drakensberg and up into Bushbuck Ridge, which is the local municipal area. The other side of those knolls. You know what a knoll is, do you, Jean-Marie? Rava, a batelier has got a short tail because it wants to reduce drag. One of the big things that a bird or any flying thing has to overcome is drag, because the more drag you have, the more thrust you need to keep in the air. Bird of the long tail has generally got a huge amount of drag, but it is also able to steer more easily and balance more easily. So why then, the question is, would the batelier want to have so much less drag than any other bird? And what you notice is that they fly probably not much more than 100 feet above the earth. And they fly much earlier than the vultures. You won't find a vulture flying in this kind of environment at all. You will find it's just heated up slightly since we started. Bateliers will take off, and they fly close to the ground. What have you got there, Jean-Marie? Well spotted. Still there. It's going back to the same. No, it's not. That was a little bee eater, everyone. So why do they want to fly low to the ground? What would the point be? Well, they're scavengers, rather, which means that they're competing with things like tawny eagles and vultures. Now, if they fly low to the ground, they're able to get to carcasses before anyone else gets to carcasses. And so that's why they do it. And how having a short tail helps you in this pursuit. There's a black-headed oriole. You can hear them calling. Toot, toot, toot. Lovely liquid call around us. But having no tail, rather, what it allows is that reduction in drag means that the bird can stay airborne with minimal fuss very close to the ground, which a vulture cannot, and nor can many of the eagles. Very nice question. But the trade-off is that it is extremely difficult to balance. And you saw that that bird there had a tail sort of about, probably about 6 inches long, and because it's so difficult to balance that they're born with a decent length tail, and each molt, each year, it becomes slightly shorter until they're about 7 years old, when the tail is completely gone, and you'll see them flying like that. Right, let's go back and check what Karula's doing. I think she's very restfully snoozing in her tree. Maybe the cubs will pitch up at some stage.
Karula is fast asleep in the tree. We've just got a beautiful angle of her as she rests up here, and she's sleeping quite funnily up. She's got her legs dangling between the two different branches. It looks very cool, with her kill just next to her. She looks very strangely comfortable. I can kind of understand. Maybe for a cat that looks very comfortable, I wouldn't be able to find comfort in that position. She looks very full. You could actually have a look at that. Look at that stomach. It looks like she's eaten quite a bit over the last couple of hours. You quite clearly see the rosettes, those golden rosettes of Karula. Beautiful. She is a stunning leopard. This is I think my second time with her. So I'm very, very excited to see her. Of course I would like to have seen the cubs with her, but would rather them be safe wherever they are, hiding in the thickets, as she sleeps with the last bit of her kill. The hyena is still below us. He's sleeping quite gracefully underneath the tree, waiting for any movement of Karula as she tries to eat any of her kill. She looks very, very tired over there. Comfortable and tired. Let's have a look at the kill while we're also on this position. The kill's just next to her, and you can just see the hooves. There's the hoof, so it really isn't much left of this kill. I can just see the neck that is still quite prominent there. But at least now we can see how big this impala was just by looking at the size of those horns. So it was a fully grown male impala. It's very, very impressive of Karula. I'm still yet to meet Shadow, who I haven't met out here. I'm sure I'll meet her sometime soon. There she is, right by us. She's not going anywhere. She'll most likely be up in this marula tree for most of the day. It was so cool to see her climbing that tree. Just while we're at this position, have a look at the tree and the size of it. Very, very impressive Karula. Very, very impressive. Sorry about my cap there. Just see the top of my cap, and I think in screen you can also see the shot of the hyena, which is just there. Looking also fairly full and tired. I just want to get on the radio. Mike, do you copy Mike? I'm still here at the sighting of Karula. She's up in a marula tree sleeping with her kill and a hyena below. If you're wanting to make your way, please come. Okay, copy. When I hear your vehicle coming in, we'll move out. So we've got another vehicle coming through. So we've just made this a one vehicle sighting just because we're not too sure where the cubs are, and if they are close by, it's important not to have too many people here. And we've checked the scene out. We're sitting right by, close to the road, so we are viewing from a safe distance where the hyena is just below. I'm sure quite a few other people would like to see how Karula is doing this morning. So other vehicles are making their way here now. Also quite curious to know, ooh, that looks like she's stretching. Good morning, Deborah, armchair traveller. You would like to know if there's one or two hyenas here. Deborah, when we first came, I just saw the one hyena. Oh, sorry, I saw the two hyenas. So two hyenas were walking through this thicket, definitely two. And now I can only observe one. So I'm not sure where the other one went to. The other one could be sleeping around the thickets here somewhere. Also just waiting for some sort of action to occur. So I'm just having a look around as we speak. It doesn't seem to be anywhere close by. But at the moment there's just the one hyena close to the tree, and Karula and her kill. There she is. So she just got up and stretched a little bit, or I think she might have actually just tried to get in a better position. Her stomach looks very large there. So cool to see her like this. Such a perfectly angled marula tree for her to have her kill just to the left there and to have her little sleeping place not so far away. So I'm going to start making my descent out of here, just as there's another vehicle that'll be here in the next 5 minutes. And let's just have a look. Looks like there's some thick grey clouds just above the marula tree, so it could very well rain here today, which is exciting. And as I said that, I felt a few drops on my face. So we have had a fantastic morning with Karula, just having a look to see how she's doing, sitting up in a tree with her kill and a hyena below. Hopefully the cubs are okay wherever they are in the thick bush, hiding. And we'll come back this afternoon to see how she's doing. We're going to leave the sighting now. We'll